Well, E3 may not be coming back this year, but we certainly are. Isn't that right, Dom?
Yep, back again for what feels like too long being away. But,
Yeah.
we're here.
Looking at that last publishing date, you're like, oh wow, February. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry if anyone like the birthday present in March, you weren't getting it.
yeah. I say we. It was mostly me that was, busy doing shit.
I totally botched our recordings today. I think I've pushed it back another 12 hours at least.
Yeah, that's cool. Work comes first, and you said you had to build something to get a bit of work done. So yeah,
I
fucking
don't
must be
want
having
that
a hell of a
recorded
day.
as evidence, Dom. Let's move on.
Right, fuck, delete that part.
Definitely.
Cut, check. Let's go to the next part.
My
But
check 1, 2. Where's E3? Who knows? Fuck it.
E3 is shut the bed and is. I don't know if it's not a thing for this year or it is no longer a thing going forward.
I have basically, as far as I can read into it, it's not happening this year, and because the reason it's not happening is because the big publishing houses have pulled out of it. So Microsoft, like Sony left a few years back because they could do their own presentation. Microsoft realized they could just do the same thing, and then so did Bethesda and Ubisoft. At which point, Nintendo already left as well because Nintendo make a habit of doing regular releases of like news and information through YouTube channels.
Yeah, they do their Nintendo Directs through Twitch and YouTube, so
yeah, so they definitely don't need to show up at LA every year and pay X amount of money to get their stuff in front of people's eyes. At a certain point, I think the companies realize, wait, we're Nintendo, we're Ubisoft, we're Activision, we're Xbox. We have the brand power to make our own news just by, saying hello to everyone.
Yeah. We can just say, hey guys, we're going to do a live presentation on this day. Sit in your bed and watch it. Sit on your couch and watch it.
Yeah, which is what most of us did. Like, if you made it out to LA to appear at the expo and have fun there with all the fake e-celebs and stuff like that and all the game developers, cool, awesome. But most of us, it was, I check Twitter in the morning, see if there was anything big announced overnight. I go to work, come back and watch the stream highlights. That was E3 every year for several years. It wasn't, as big a deal for those of us living, on another continent. It was just interesting to see what was coming out and get some big trailers.
Yeah. I think I only know of one person that actually stayed up to watch the conferences live. I think they only did that for 2 years because it's just such a waste of time. Like, unless you're being paid to do it, why would you sit through all that shit when you can just catch the highlights at a reasonable time?
Yeah. I mean, the last time I actually watched the full conference was drinking with my brothers. Other than that, I just don't care enough to sit there and watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I tuned in Nintendo because I know for a fact they're going to pry my wallet open at in a few instances, get some money out of me. Sony, they always announce some shit, same with Microsoft, but apart from that, not a whole else.
Yeah, unless you know there's a good my Assassin's Creed game coming out, I don't think there's any reason to watch the Ubisoft one. Bethesda, they're never going to actually release Skyrim 2 or the Elder Scrolls 6, so fuck them. And after that, it's a question of which small indie developer is going to be a surprise guest at, one of the bigger places.
Yeah. And it's always developer digital. They always come in and say, here's this woman looking angry, kicking the shit out of someone, and now you're going to get Carrion 2. Did we need that?
Yeah. It's never really been like a staple of the year. Like, some cool stuff comes out and you get some fun interactions. But 9 times out of 10, especially the last couple of years, they're trying to bring in because they realize traditional media doesn't care about gaming because gaming is a threat to traditional media. Why would you cover the opposition? So they try and tag in like influencers because gaming is cool now. I don't know if you've ever seen that clip of Jesse Wellens, who was like Prank vs Prank on YouTube. Him delivering a speech for like Need for Speed is one of the most god awful things I've ever seen in my entire life. He just was not prepared for a camera to be on him, for him to have to be like professional, like kind of presentation version of himself. He just like be more kind of chill back and relaxed. And like you feel like him realizing, oh no, I'm in trouble, and the panic set in as he gives a presentation. And it was all happening on a live stream. And he's a YouTuber, so he was used to having like a second take. So it all just goes completely out the fucking window. And I think that was the last year before COVID hit. So, yeah. I mean, the COVID situation definitely put massive dampeners on all E3 events. but there was always that thing of, hey, at least we can put together a big collaboration stream, and then every big publisher says, actually, we'll just fire up our old Twitch channel that we use from time to time. So
Yeah,
bye. And then with no purpose, E3 just kind of drops dead.
yeah. And I think it's about time E3 either changed or just went away because people weren't tuning in to see the whole conference. No one watched the PC game show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know one person who watched the PC game show, and it was because he was a Twitch streamer that specifically played PC games. Apart from that, no one was watching it, so it needed to change. And the fact that it went away, hopefully the people behind it are going to restructure it and say, let's not do it about announcing games. Let's do it about, let's focus a bit more on the games. Let's have people playing the games without queuing up for fucking days to play the latest build of Street Fighter or something. So
So
on one
returning,
hand, it is a bit of a shame that E3 is disappearing, but at the same time, something had to change.
yeah, and it does leave, as you say, space in the market for something to kind of rise up out the ashes. Nothing saying you can't turn it into like the player experience. Not a bad idea. Give people a chance to have their hands on, but again, you still need like the sign off of the big companies.
Yeah,
If it's not the biggest draw on the planet anymore, because you've got to make your way to LA to play a video game. Like, I don't know if you remember, it was some old like Call of Duty release. I want to say it was like Black Ops 2, where they flew
hmm
out a bunch of like Twitch streamers into like this old army like air base or something like that, somewhere in the middle of the US, and people were like, it was just a fucking disaster.
yeah,
And like, if somebody's not willing to travel to cover your event as the influencer, there's almost nothing you can do to gain eyes on an event.
yeah,
Whereas you could just put it up on Steam and say, "Hey guys, open beta for the coming weekend. Do what you want to do on the servers, and just see what happens." And that would generate about as much hype or as much buzz as like a closed event.
yeah. I actually do remember. I think it was Black Ops 3 that happened when it was just an absolute shit show.
I feel like the marketing teams have like a really cool idea of how it's going to go down, and not realizing all it takes is a tiny little fuck up to
Yeah,
just suddenly just, oh no. It all goes like it gains momentum, especially if you've got multiple kids there, all with
yeah,
cameras, all filming and all recording at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah. I just it was good for gaming news for a while, but now gaming news has kind of moved beyond E3.
yeah. Gaming news is kind of doing its own thing. It's now just becoming its own little self-contained bubble that
Yeah.
people are getting. Nintendo themselves are quite proactive on Twitter, posting shit. Uh, Same with Sony. If there's any new updates, they more than likely just pop it up on Twitter or whatever or social media service takes over from Twitter because can we just stop with Twitter? It's
Yeah.
the fact that it's a fucking Dogecoin is the no. It's changed back to the bird,
Yeah, we should
but I
maybe
think
clarify that a couple days ago, we're recording on the 9th. Twitter, I think on the 6th, I want to say,
yeah,
changed its logo from the Twitter Bluebird icon to Doge, as in like Dogecoin and the Doge beams. Um,
I think it was actually the 1st of April. April Fools, that kind of bullshit.
oh, I didn't see it on April 1st.
All right,
I was like, oh wow, it really fucked up waiting 4 days to make that happen. But that's the thing is, I didn't check Twitter for 5 6 days, and see that to be a year ago to the point where I'm addicted to Twitter. I would have said unbelievable that I just would go without that platform for 5 or 6 days. Maybe this is Elon Musk's long game. He's gonna get people off of social media and back into the real world to do their fucking jobs and save the
maybe.
economy. It's
I
like a
don't think
five-head
he's
brain.
smart. I don't think he's smart enough for that though.
Yeah, I have no faith in the man, and it's watching one of the most interesting like experiments on social media. Just eat complete shit as it dies. I'm like, this is it's messed up. I don't know why. I don't know why it's such a shame to see it go down this way. But I imagine this is probably what people felt like when Tumblr ate shit as well back in the day. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean maybe, but I don't think people were using Tumblr for anything more than porn. Like,
have you seen Twitter recently?
yeah, I mean, just as you said that, I looked on Twitter and hashtag Seductive Sunday is trending. So, well,
Let's open those links, babies. Let's see who's got the goods. some of the stuff you see on social media, you're like, you can't post that.
Surely there has to be some kind of disclaimer there, so kids don't happen upon this randomly.
I'm not a traditionalist by any sense, by any sense of the term, but only your husband should see that.
And that's the funny thing. They're always like, because recently this year, I say recently, probably this year and maybe a bit of last year, I found out who Amaranth is. And looking at some of her stuff, I was like, this should be between you and, you know, a partner of your choice, because this is mental.
Yeah, and she's, I'd say, on the tamer side because she's got to keep. It's the same as like Jessica Nigri, who fantastic cosplayer, but undeniably the sexiest nerd you've ever seen. It doesn't get better than her. I'm sorry, but the idea that there was always one day she was gonna take her top off, and it was gonna be it. But that's never gonna happen because you have to keep the money rolling in. It's the same
Yeah,
idea that Amaranth has, where you have to keep something in reserve, keep people coming back, and she's
yeah, you have to keep that promise.
yeah. Amaranth is the gamer queen of Twitch. I think. I know there's obviously like Pokemon and stuff like that, and there's other like people who make it big. But over time, I'd say she's probably remained the longest standing like queen of Twitch in terms of like the grind as well. Like 15-hour streams, and she actually started doing like sleeping streams where you can just watch her sleeping. You're like, this is the creepiest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I've noticed those popping up, and it's just people sleeping on Twitch. Like, are there fans that are that rabid and that, supportive of a Twitch streamer that they're willing to watch them sleep for 8 to 10 hours?
Yes, I mean,
I fucking hope. I hope not.
I remember like when you're doing like a subathon, like a
Yeah,
multi-day subathon. I get it. There's times you gotta go to sleep. It makes sense. Um, and what you do then is you would put on like a video of your highlights, your greatest hits. You put on like a compilation video of your previous streams or whatever. That I can see that being interesting. It's a place for the community to stay and hang out during the subathon, and you get to catch a break. But I'm talking about she's just sleeping on a bed
yeah.
and nothing else is going on, and the mic's turned on, and that's it. There's maybe a bit of ambient EDM music, something going on in the background. Just that's it, which is weird. It's a weird platform. Not as bad as Kick though. That's a
The
spin-off.
fuck is Kick?
It's a spin-off competitor to Twitch. Literally, it's green, but it's Twitch, and
Hmm.
the ideas are it's backed by a gambling service. Like, as in, there's
Uh,
like a digital casino is fronting the money for this thing because a digital broadcast service like Twitch is not cheap. Ask Amazon, ask YouTube, or ask Google. They are hemorrhaging money trying to keep the servers running because there's so much stuff being broadcast online.
hmm.
And the big draw is gambling's permitted because gambling was kicked off of Twitch, I want to say 6 months ago after some big controversies.
Mhm.
And then you have no terms of service. So one of the biggest creators on there was broadcasting the Super Bowl, which is I don't know if it's specifically the Super Bowl that's a felony, but you can't broadcast
Hmm.
like US television to other viewers through another service. That's
Yeah,
just a hell no. Especially from the NFL. Um, and then there are obviously like people just live stream. There was an old joke about like an old Conor McGregor fight where a kid was like pretending to play like he was playing UFC, and he was watching the game but like pretending to control it with the controller. That's not even there anymore because that's funny because that kid got away with it somehow for an entire stream. He just pretended to be playing like a UFC fighting game, and it was just an actual broadcast of the UFC.
Hmm.
And now it's just people just sit there watching the UFC, like sipping a drink, chatting occasionally with chat to like spice it up a bit. But that's Kick in a nutshell, is just unrestricted broadcast. I don't know how long that's going to last. I imagine it won't be long until somebody's lawyer has a few questions. But yeah, the internet's a wild place. Fascinating.
yeah. It's a fascinating dumpster fire of a place.
Speaking of fascinating dumpster fires, well, actually, I can't really say that. I watched Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I think that's just a dumpster fire. It's not even a fascinating dumpster fire.
I mean,
Some of the most positive people that I know that refuse to hate on anything. They say, "Well, I didn't like it, but I'm not going to say it's terrible because all those people worked on it." And like, you are a fucking ray of sunshine. Those people have said to me, "Oh, I went to see Cocaine Bear, and I was so fucking bored about a film. I was so bored watching a film about a bear that eats a kilogram of cocaine.
yeah.
How are you bored by that? That sounds like the most interesting premise ever. It was just boring. It couldn't decide whether it wanted to be brutal and gory or it wanted to be funny. It just kind of waved aimlessly between them.
That is the most accurate review I could ever give of that film, because that is the problem. Is it is stuck with the idea of, we need to show you the bear doing bear stuff on cocaine. It needs to be on a rampage. It needs to be actively aggressive, and it needs to be attacking and killing people to turn this into kind of a horror movie. But it's not enough of a horror because all the tone and all the setting, like the visuals are set up for comedy. All the bright lighting is there during the daytime scenes, and then at the end, for some reason, there's a scene at night in a cave where it's so dark you can't see shit. I don't know what they're doing there, but the the daytime scenes are far too bright and far too like kind of happy-go-lucky, oversaturated. It feels. I mean, it's directed by Elizabeth Banks, who's a comedy director,
Yeah.
allegedly, but she like all of her stuff is set up.
She's trying.
She's trying. She turned the camera on. That's fair. I'll give her that.
She's doing her job.
Took the
She
lens
almost
cap
directed
off.
Thor Ragnarok.
It's in focus. There you go. There you go. There's a compliment for you. All right, it's in focus. But I just watching the film, like, it's just so wrong in so many ways, and it's stuck dithering with this idea that it wants to be super serious about the fact there's a bear, there's cocaine, but it can't stopping itself from getting on with the story to say, did you see? There's a bear that did cocaine. That's the joke. That's the joke of the film. And I'm like, I think the joke is me here. I don't like this.
I'm the joke for sitting watching a pile of garbage.
Pretty much the only excuse I can think of. That I'd say it's like its best moment is the bear chasing the ambulance, which is in the trailer, so that saves you 20 quid
Yeah.
on tickets alone. The funniest part is Margot Martindale shoots a kid in the head because they're panicking because they go, "Oh fuck, it's the bear who does cocaine, the cocaine bear. Have you heard of him? He's a bear who does cocaine." And they're like, "Oh my god, it's the bear who does cocaine." And she like points the gun with her, she's a park ranger, but she has like a fucking 44 Magnum, and she pulls the trigger, blows a hole through the kid's fucking head. Hilarious. I'm like, nah, I can't believe they actually did that. I thought they were kind of gonna do it. You know how we talked about Halloween kills from like, there's no way they're gonna kill a kid at the first part of the movie. Yes, they fucking did. It's like, there's no way they're gonna shoot this kid in the head. Yes, they fucking did. Awesome. And then immediately I'm taken out of it because like it's a straight through and through of it, like through his head out the front, and then they have a character come out of the side of the shot, and he's covered in blood from the headshot. The head didn't explode that way. He shouldn't have blood on him. Immediately I'm like, you fucked it. You had one of the best surprises in this entire film, and you just fucked it right out there. It was frustrating because I sat there watching. I could hear people in the background like laughing along the movie, and I'm like, "Really? This shit? Really? Okay, fine, fuck it." Actually,
See, for those listening at home, I'm going to give you an accurate depiction of how Colin laughing at this film went. Fuck.
it was a smile as that kid's face evaporated, and then I just
Fuck! It actually made me laugh.
disappointed in myself. But to be fair, these kids also laughed at the Renfield trailer, so you're like, okay, you people like these are the these are the glue sniffing babies from back in the day. The kids at the back of the class who just were eating glue.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to see Renfield, to be honest, but that's just more because I want to see Nick Cage as Dracula as opposed to anything to do with the film itself. I just want to see how unhinged Nick Cage gets when he plays someone like Dracula.
The more I see the trailer and obviously the different cuts of the trailer that you see on different like platforms, I'm like, starting to lose it. The appeal, the initial gag is there, and I get it, but it's starting to lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did that, to be fair. I did see Cocaine Bear the same day I went to see Everything Everywhere All at Once, and
Yeah,
that was just a fantastic movie. That
yeah.
was fucking awesome.
I am so happy that that film won something like 7 Oscars.
Hmm.
Although what bugs me is that they they're claiming that Everything Everywhere All at Once was the most awarded film at the Oscars, and my head immediately went to, didn't Return of the King win something like 11 fucking Oscars?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings went to 11. I'm almost
Yeah,
certain because they never got anything for any other movies, and everyone's like, "Ah, fuck, you can't pull it off." Right, every
yeah,
Oscar go.
yeah. Return of the King gets them all. But I will say that Everything Everywhere All at Once did deserve its Oscars.
Mm.
Not just solely because Michelle Yeoh, plays the lead character phenomenally. Ki Hui Kwan, he's just the ultimate kind of anti-hero. Like, I don't mean anti-hero as in he's a bad guy, but he's a hero. He plays the hero character, but in such a non-heroic way. He deserves the fucking Oscar for that. And Jamie Lee Curtis getting an Oscar, I'm all for that fucking woman doing anything. It's just when you put it all together and you watch that film, when you first watch it, you're thinking, "What the fuck is going on here?" But then, or when you at the first part of the film, you're like, "What the fuck is going on here?" But then when you settle into it and you realize what they're going for, you're like, "Oh shit, this is actually fucking genius."
Yeah, I walked away from that film thinking I'm gonna need to see this like at least 2 or 3 times. I'm not gonna get all of this the first time, but even just the first time you walk away from that film, like I have very strong ideas of where that was going initially and how it twisted and kind of like judo flips into a different story.
Yeah,
And I love the fact that it went through like 5 or 6 different storylines and ideas at the same time and then brought it all together towards the end.
yeah,
Um, a quick Google search, by the way, a list of Academy Awards. Most awards won by a single film is 11, and it is Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Nominated in 11 of the 17 possible categories, won all 11.
yeah.
Uh,
See, I thought that it was fucking Twitter, messing with my mind. I was like, "Are we just forgetting fucking Return of the King?"
yeah, I mean,
Everything, Everywhere All at Once is a phenomenal film, but
yeah.
it doesn't beat Return of the King.
3 films have actually won the Academy Awards. Ben Hur in 1959, I have that. Nominated in 12 of 15 possible categories. Titanic in 97, nominated in 14 of the 17 possible categories, but 11 wins overall.
Huh?
So, yeah, that is a huge, like, that's massive percentage of those awards given out to just those 3 films. And again, like, at the same time, all of them fan fucking tastic.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it maybe is a thing of like it's the most awarded in that ceremony or in recent ceremonies, but yeah,
yeah, it might be.
it's one of those things of like they just want to bump up, get more hype for the movie and more attention on themselves. Just typical, modern media fish.
Yeah, it
But
probably does make sense that it's the most awarded film in recent history because I don't think any film has done a massive sweep like that since Return of the King.
mm.
So it's probably the most awarded film of the last decade or something.
But I mean, while we're on the subject of like the Oscars, just fuck them, just fuck them.
Yeah, just fuck them. I'm really glad that actors I genuinely quite like seeing their performances are getting awards. Like Jamie Lee Curtis finally getting an Oscar is pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I don't really care. It is becoming an absolute dog and pony show. It's just like, here's what we did. It's like you were specifically made a film as Oscar bait. How
Yeah,
about you just make a film and try and, you know, if it's good enough, mate, hopefully it gets Oscar acclaim. Like,
yeah.
actually, you've mentioned the Oscars. I'm going to say it. The Batman was robbed. The Batman should have won best score, but it was fucking robbed.
I just like all these award ceremonies. I mean, you almost definitely missed this, but there was a streamer award thing for Twitch streamers.
Or the
Um,
streamies or whatever it is.
just fuck off. 8 hour broadcast of a wannabe Oscars show. I get it. You want to have a big celebration of what you and your friends accomplish because the people in there are accomplishing fantastic things. I'm a big fan of CDogVA, who's a Welsh anime streamer living in Japan at the moment. He did a
Yeah,
charity stream cycling like for 7 days straight around Hokkaido, and he did the same thing a few days later for another charity stream, raising money for the Immuno Defense Fund. And
yeah,
it is like fantastic charitable work, and I really support the stuff he's done. He's made fantastic efforts, like raising awareness of a charity that affects so many people that you don't even think about. But at the same time, like the idea that we're gonna sit around for 8 hours to watch Twitch streamers like make pretend that they're the Oscars, just knock it off. Like we don't have
Yeah,
nobody has time for that shit. And I get the feeling
yeah,
of wanting to award people and give them little pats on the backs and like gold stars and stuff like that for the work they've done, but I just like most people don't get that. Like
yeah.
you don't get an award ceremony for being the best dust binman. Like best binman, best like lollipop lady or whatever. Like that's just not a thing.
Yeah, like most people that aren't celebrities don't give a shit about getting awards. You know,
It's
cash
just
awards, yeah,
oh yeah,
but
financial compensation. Hell yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh, dude, I did really well at my job today, and I get a financial bonus. Great. Oh, I did. Or contrast with, I did really well at my job today, and he gave me a little gold statue. Can I melt the gold statue and cash for gold this shit? Or
How good's the actual gold in here, boss? Just
yeah,
asking some questions.
is it real gold or is it that kind of fake fool's gold that's gonna?
Like as we're watching economy fucking collapse again, as we're
Yeah,
watching all this shit going on, all this instability brought on by 3-4 years of pandemic, another set of conflicts in like Ukraine and in fucking Yemen and stuff like that, and all these different conflicts going on across the planet, and it's like, no. People in LA have to take time out of their day to go pat themselves in the back. Go fuck yourself.
yeah, that's what fucking bugs me. Um, although I did have a bit of a joke at one of my friends' expense. Someone that I went to uni with is a huge English football fan, and England were playing Ukraine recently, and they were beating them, and I just messaged them just saying, "You proud of yourself? Feel good?"
Feel
Just to
good about
really,
that one,
really, yeah, feel real good about beating the people who were warring a couple of months ago, and they got pulled out of the war to go and play football. Good about beating them.
It's so mean. I like it though.
It is mean, but
But he's an English football fan, so fuck him.
he's an English football fan. Because naturally, me being Scottish and the rugby fan that I am, I was just like, yeah, we'll dust the mantelpiece off. The Calcutta Cup is coming home to Murrayfield. And they were like, whatever, it doesn't mean shit. They're from they're from proper Northern England. So I'm not even going to try and do the accent. But, like,
Just say bastard a lot.
yeah, bastard. Yeah.
Bastard.
Like Sean Bean, Yorkshire,
Bastard
England.
stole my gravy.
Bastard saw me football covered gravy.
Oh, your gravy covered football.
No, I said football covered gravy, didn't I?
Yeah. Now I just want like it's Dom's football and gravy.
My
Available
hit
in
single
stores
coming out
now.
2025. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of available in stores now, I watched the Transformers movie, and this shit is the most like hype kids up film of hype
Yeah.
kids up and tell them the toys are in store now. Like holy shit, it's a decent movie. So I picked a few holes in the Transformers 1986 movie because I just can't help myself. I really am just a dick like that. I sent a few of them because the friend who was generous enough to give me a DVD of this masterpiece was like, "What did you think?" And this is what I brought up. They've got stuff that is very obvious, like the stuff where things are just happening to move the story along, which is fine. I mean, it's a kids' TV program. We don't need to think too hard about stuff like this, but like the way that the cars drive over terrain. I mean, like for example, Hot Rod is one of the main characters. He's a race car who can drive over mountaintops without any issue whatsoever. Like following along with like what is I think a 4x4, a military 4x4. Like the kid, Dan is the kid's name. He can clobber a Decepticon over the head with a piece of metal, like a 4x4, like a rebar, and that knocks him out. I don't think Transformers can get knocked out, but fuck it, I guess. Like, or how they introduce Megatron when he's boarding a ship, and it's the ship on the way to Earth to take over. What do you call it again? It's the Transformers City on Earth, which is interesting. Because I feel like that's another kind of available in stores kit that you can probably find from the time. But he jumps up to threaten the Autobots that are on the ship and says, no, have you, you're all going to die. And then they just like transform him into a gun that another Autobot or another Decepticon shoots at the Autobots. Like stuff morphs and shifts so much to try and fit into the story, just to try and like make it work by any means necessary. It's kind of admirable how much they do it, but at the same time, stuff like the music, the soundtrack was like a big thing that was hyped up on because I got sent a playlist of like here's all the best hits of this album, and first of all, that best hits Mr. Weird Al Yankovic song, which is just unforgivable. But the rest of it is just really odd glam metal. It's catchy. I like it. It's kind of cool. But like all those like greatest hits track from the the Transformers movie soundtrack are just they're there for like the action scene, and then like as the developer or as the editor gets bored, you just kind of feel it fade away, and it's just such a hard fade off. Like you'll just be having a conversation, and then all of a sudden the audio just well, the audio comes back in later, and it's just a weird like mash of editing techniques, and it happens as well with visuals where stuff just like fades to black for no reason, and then you come back to the same scene after a fade to black. I think because I've noticed this a few times with some anime films I've been watching that it's to do with like commercial breaks, as if that was going to be a commercial break when the thing was originally animated, and the fade to black was supposed to be the cut to commercial, and then you would come back to the fight scene. That's why it cuts from a personal moment, like fading to black, and then cuts back into an establishing scene. The theory of mine, but I wasn't checking the runtime of how long certain things are. But that's my
Then
idea.
again, Transformers 1987, I think, is
86.
86 was a film that wasn't really made with editing techniques in mind. I think it was literally made right. Transformers is dwindling. Kids aren't interested in it anymore. What do we do? Let's make a film. Let's make it look good. Let's put in all these hype as fuck, dad rock songs in there
Yeah.
that people are going to be talking about from years to come. Let's fucking kill off Optimus Prime. Let's kill off Megatron. Let's bring in Judd Nelson as Hot Rod. Let's bring in Robert Stack as Ultra Magnus. Let's get a fucking female Autobot in there. Let's get RC in there. People want to fuck a car. Let's get dinosaurs. We're gonna get dinosaurs. We're
Is
gonna
RC a new thing? Was she just
and
there for that one movie, or is she introduced
RC
in that
was
movie?
brought in. Yeah, she was brought in for that film because they weren't enough female Transformers or any. I think.
This show needs some sex appeal. How about a car with some titties?
Yeah, let's get a curvy car. And then they brought in that guy. He was in America. He held the Guinness World Record for the most words said in a minute. He was like one of those fast talker guys. He's brought in as the character Blur that moves really fast and he's always talking. Bullshit.
Yeah, it's a weird
And then
one.
they put the icing on the cake, or the icing on the cake was let's get Eric Idle in there. And then fuck, we need one more thing, cherry on top. Hey guys, how funny would it be if you could get Orson Welles as Unicrons? Wait, fuck, we can. Shit, we need to do it now.
You work for pay? Fucking go for it, son.
And that was his last role before he passed away.
I swear to God, the death sound of Unicron is like a little too close when you know that it's his last like acting role. You're like, oh no, buddy, no, please. There's something weird about the gargling noise that's in there, and you're like, oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good at all. But yeah, as like an Orson Welles mini fan, like I'm not as deep into the lore as other like the real hard like hothead fans. It is.
Yep.
It is interesting to know that that's the last thing he worked on, but at the same time, he just genuinely seemed to enjoy doing funny, weird roles towards the end and was trying to raise money for making his other movies because Hollywood wouldn't support him because they're a bunch of fucking dicks.
I can imagine he probably got the lion's share of fees for that film.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Judd Nelson or Robert Stack pulling in as much money as Orson Welles.
Nah, man, Leonard Nimoy is the big winner here.
Oh, yeah.
I would say actually, Optimus' death scene, the final fight of Optimus and Megatron is pretty fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I will hear no bad words to say about the fist fight between Optimus and Megatron.
And it is just a fist fight. It's like, oh, they're robots from outer space, they're alien technology, sentient trucks. It's just two dudes stabbing each other and trying to blast each other's guts out. I'm like, this is pretty hardcore for the kids movie. Okay.
Yeah. See when you're a kid who was raised around Transformers, right? Like myself and my two older brothers and many of our friends that I still know to this day, you wanted Megatron and Optimus just to fucking kill each other. And then you actually get to see that. You're like, holy shit, they did it. How long? Like, is Optimus just going to be out of commission for this whole fight? You're like, no, you actually killed him. Holy shit. And about 9 other Autobots.
Yeah, so
when you're younger, you don't question it because you just think, oh, this is just casualties of war. And then when you get older, like, you motherfuckers, you pulled the wool over my eyes.
The death scene's a bit odd though. Like the final farewell, the kind of like the prophecy of one day one of us shall rise from the ranks of the Autobots to become a true leader. And you're like, okay, interesting. And then all of a sudden, there's just like the color goes out of him, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? is the color like a signifier of something that I didn't like? Maybe just as a Transformers fan, I don't know what this is about. I'm assuming this is the first time that a character has died in a Transformers thing.
Yeah, it's the first. Apart from the people that get slaughtered by the Decepticons on the ship outside that Earth City, uh, yeah, that's the first time in Transformers lore, really, that a big main character has died. And since that original animated film, Optimus has to die every so often as a kind of sticking point, as a kind of historic point in any kind of Transformers media. But this is what started it. And like as I texted you earlier, the backlash to Optimus's death was so vitriolic that they just ended up bringing him back in the next season because they couldn't take it. Like, right, fuck it, we'll give you Optimus back. He's going to be a zombie for a little while. You're just going to have to deal with that. But we'll bring him back.
I I watched it and I was like, okay, it was a good scene, and I like that it was the setup for Optimus is gone, the father figure of the Autobots is gone. It's now time for the kids to take over, and that's a good metaphor because you've got Dan as the kid becoming part of the action, which I assume he probably wasn't during the show. It was probably his dad. I mean, he probably
Yeah,
helped out, but it was mostly his dad, who's I guess he's the human contact for the Autobots or whatever. But
yeah. Daniel, he was the no Spike was the he was the kind of human that helped out the Autobots, and I'm pretty sure Daniel was a child, like a very very young child.
right. And there's some stuff there where it's like a child in peril, where it's like it's just that typical. I assume it's like an audience insert character, but
Yeah,
it's like the child in peril stuff. I'm like, fuck off. Really, I
yeah,
don't. But it's like it's an '80s kids cartoon. It kind of has to have that stuff in there. Same way that like, if you notice, there's not a lot of people getting shot by the Autobots. There's obviously a lot of like stormtrooper aiming, where it's like, oh, fire at them, boys, have at them, and it's just like they just open up fire and nobody actually hits anybody.
yeah,
And you notice there's never really main characters don't get to kill or hurt anybody, and it's pretty obvious when like you get that the first Decepticons land on Earth, and
mm,
you have like the one that transforms into a tank, almost shoots Hot Rod. Hot Rod
yeah,
just kind of lighting up the plane. The tank one almost goes to fire on him, but somebody gets to like the other guy pulls up the barrel, and it shoots another Decepticon. But there's
yeah,
almost this kind of like plausible deniability that the Autobots didn't kill anybody, therefore they're still good role models. And it's just trying
yeah,
to. There's so much of the universe bends around trying to make the Autobots stay good. Whereas I think
yeah,
if you did it now and you just had Autobots just fucking murking people, it'd be a lot more interesting.
yeah. I think you kind of hit. In fact, you definitely hit the nail on the head there because people wanted to see the Decepticons kill and murder people. Like one of the best scenes in the film is Galvatron just destroying Starscream.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I was gonna bring up that next.
yeah, we'll get to that a bit because it is like genuinely my favorite Transformers character, Galvatron, just doing one of the most badass things ever. But uh, like Ultra Magnus and I think Optimus are meant to be these, marksmen in terms of the, soldiers, but you never see Ultra Magnus kill anybody. He gets fucking lit up by Galvatron's crew when they're on the planet of junk, and Hot Rod just kind of dodges a lot of shit. He has a couple of kills when he's cutting things with his axe hand on the water planet when he's getting attacked by all the Sharkticons. But
Yeah, but I think they make
yeah,
a
they
point of
had
being
to be
like,
good role models.
yeah, they make a point. I think of saying, oh, like the Sharkatron or whatever the fuck it is. It's like an animal and a shark robot thing. It's
Yeah,
not like it's not a real transformer. It's not a real person. It's a monster thing. We can kill the monster thing, and
yeah.
that's cool. But
They're not
it's
allowed to kill real
yeah,
actual people.
yeah. You can't kill something that has its own name thing. It can't have
Yeah,
its own name, and you can't kill it. But yeah, the Galvatron just wiping it. Because Starscream is in that same vein as kind of like Cobra Commander, where he's just like a
same
dick.
voice actor.
Yeah. Oh, I noticed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know who Rob Schraub is, but he's a friend
No.
of Dan Harmon, and he does a perfect Cobra Commander. And I keep assuming it's Starscream. I was looking for the clips of him doing Starscream voice acting, but he is just voice acting as Cobra Commander. There's
Hmm.
some clips from Community where they did a GI Joe parody episode, and I'm like, please get Rob Schraub in do the voice of Cobra Commander because it is perfect. And that same voice, even when I'm hearing the real versions of those characters, I still imagine him saying just horrific shit as Cobra Commander. Like I keep waiting for like the mask to drop and him to just say some horrific stuff as him and like basically like sexually harass people and stuff like that with that creepy voice that those characters have. But the Starscream death is the funniest shit on him. He finally claws his way up to power, demands a coronation, like rushes everything through because he really wants to be anointed king of the Decepticons or whatever the fuck. he shoots like four trumpets for some
Yeah,
reason. And actually, now I think about it, the angle he was at would be impossible to shoot the four trumpets. I don't know why I'm working at the physics of this, but the
yeah,
angles are all wrong. But he shoots the four trumpets, and just as he's about to be like kind of proclaimed king, and like another person shows up and just nukes him off the face of the planet.
yeah,
Galvatron just destroys him. I do like the reform of like because Unicron gives new armor and weapons to Megatron and a bunch gives them a bunch of new henchmen or
yeah,
new toys to sell.
yeah,
And
pretty much.
it's it's fantastic. It's one of those things of like, and here's the new product line available in stores now, and you're like, oh shit, we're doing this, are we?
Yep.
But yeah, it was interesting to watch like this like because I'd seen this once as a physics teacher, Mr. Lamb. I haven't heard from him in ages, but I hope he's doing well. I think he's a great teacher and
Yeah,
very good to us as like fellow nerds. You know, he's the one who
yeah,
taught us to play D&D. Or taught me to play D&D anyway.
yeah. He kind of passed the torch to us as DM
Yeah.
after he left to go and he got a research job, and it was like, okay, I ain't doing teaching anymore. You guys take over the D&D club. Like, we shall, sir.
And it was just he had it on once, and it was like during like an end of school thing, where it's like the last days of school. It's like nobody. I didn't even. I wasn't even in a physics class. Somebody just told me, "Hey, we're watching Transformers in this physics class." I'm like, "Cool, I'll be there in a moment." Let me just leave this. We'll find a way to leave this English class, and I'll see you later. Bye. I've seen it once. I remember seeing. It must have been the shark scene because I was looking through the film. I was like, "Where is the shark scene?" And it's like, "Oh, it's near the end." Because it's the shark scene. They escape onto the surface of planet Junk, and
Yeah,
then you have the dance scene with Weird Al Yankovic and a guy who looks weirdly Mongolian for a
yeah,
Decepticon or for a robot. I don't know
yeah.
what.
Voiced by Eric Idle.
it's such a it's such a weird scene because it's just Weird Al Yankovic saying, don't be afraid to be dumb" or something like that. As like a bunch
Yeah,
of
it
people
says,
just kind of boogie around in a circle. You're like, what the
yeah,
fuck
the
is
song
this?
is Dare to Be Stupid.
Dare it be stupid. Yeah, there.
Yeah,
And I was like, what the fuck is this scene? What is other than again another new toy line to bring out
yeah,
and a funny little like sing along moment.
yeah. It
Can
was
you
basically
imagine?
Weird Al Yankovic had a new song out. It was like, how can I advertise this in a way that people are actually going to see? And then Hasbro just pops its head around the corner. It's like, well, come with me, friend. Come with me.
We are gonna make the weirdest choice of song and party music of all time. And I wonder
And
about
also in a
this.
weird kind of loop closing type of thing, Weird Al Yankovic voiced that character in later interpretations of him, just to kind of really close that loop.
Huh. I mean, this kind of like confusion that I have right now is how I feel about the whole film in general. Because you just keep going from one thing to another to another to another,
Yeah,
and I don't know what actually happened. If I'm being entirely honest, I need to find
yeah,
a way to get the copy of it like saved to hard drive so I can give it back to a friend. But
yeah,
I just the only thing I'd say is missing in terms of like making it again. I want the more kind of serious version of the movie. Maybe not like Michael Bay level of just destruction and try like gore all over the place,
mm,
but I want more weight on the impacts when stuff like hits. Because what you have is two like building sized car people punching the fuck out of each other. And yet it doesn't feel like there's anything there. And I wish it would take a lot of time and effort and money to re-edit the movie or to add in like impact sounds that don't just sound like cheap stock car crash effects,
yeah.
but giving it a little bit of like crunch and weight, especially for the Optimus fight, would have been interesting to say the least.
I guarantee if this was an animated film made now, it probably would have all that. But given that it was in the 80s, and
Yeah,
as you've said a few times now, they are not uh, reluctant to tell you that this is to release toys.
yeah.
So they just
That
kind of
and
they let it happen.
there was points where some of the animation gets a bit kind of wonky, and you're like, oh no. There's a lot of stuff to do with like if there's ever, it's just hard to draw these things, but the perspective of some stuff coming from like really close to really far away, or backwards and forwards and stuff gets quite wonky at times, and it's stuff that people struggle with now. I can't
Yeah,
imagine back in the 90s, and this is technically like an anime release, which I
yeah.
get.
Manga Entertainment released it. I have it on Blu-ray somewhere.
And it was original anime. Does that mean that the Transformers films are the most successful anime adaptation of all time?
Yeah, I think so.
Fuck. I, I was really hoping the Your Name movie would get that title, but nah, I don't think we can catch up to the fucking Transformers franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, just because I mentioned Your Name, which is Makoto Shinkai's big film, his
Yeah.
new film, Suzume, comes out in 10 days. No, actually, less than that, 5 days. And I booked tickets. And I booked tickets to the sub and the dub because I can see them both in Glasgow. Only thing is, I have to book them separately on Cineworld. They don't let me check out with multiple tickets because you've got to book the ticket, assign the seat to yourself, and then check out. And you can't go back to book another ticket during that session. So I booked that ticket, went back to book the other ticket for the other session, which is the subtitled version, and my bank flagged it as credit card fraud. I swear to God, I'm just a massive weeb. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
I just want to see anime. I beg of you, please.
It's funny that you mentioned that. It just reminded me of something that happened to me very recently when I say very recently, last year. I bought tickets to go and see a film. I bought 4 of them, cancelled it, then bought 4 tickets again because I'd got them in a different seat or something like that. Then I had to add in 2 more tickets, and because I'd basically added more tickets to the same thing and in such a quick succession, they're like, okay, this seems a bit weird. And it was midday. I got a message on my nationwide app saying we've had some suspicious activity. So like, no, I just have some wishy-washy friends that weren't sure if they were going to go and they didn't want to go at this time. So, I've just got a bunch of indecisive fucks for friends, right?
Well, I'm pissed because somebody took my seat. I had
Yeah.
seat B9 taken. It's dead center. It's second from the front. There's nothing in front of you. You can just watch the film. It means if I'm crying, nobody can see me. Uh, I'm dead center on the screen. So that's like the perfect seat. And I had it there, and it was booked and ready to go. I got the credit card fraud notification, and I had to go back. I had to wait 10 minutes. And by the time I'd waited enough time to come back, somebody had fucking taken it. God damn it. I just want to weave in private.
Yeah.
It's this is like stuff like Transformers and Everything Everywhere All at Once is kind of like why I enjoy movies. Just it's
Yeah.
a very they're both kind of silly in a weird way, and they both don't take themselves too seriously. Obviously, one's a very very commercial product, and one is just
Yeah.
this weird film that is just blowing up because it's surprisingly relevant. Given I think a lot of Everything Everywhere All at Once is about mental health, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think it's, if you break it down into its kind of core messages, I guess. If you look at Waymond, who I genuinely thought I got his name wrong at the first time, but no, his name is actually Waymond Wang. Uh, that's Ki Hui Kwan's character. He's he's basically meant to be the kind of people pleaser, nice guy. No matter what he does in that, he will help. He'll try and get people to be better. That's the kind of mental health people pleaser type thing. Then you've got Michelle Yeoh's character. She's the kind of I need to hold everybody together type of thing. I need to keep fighting. And then you've got I think it's Stephanie Stephanie Hugh. The daughter, her thing is, fighting to be relevant. Kind of what fight to get my voice heard. And if you kind of distill that all into it with some weird imagery about bagels and different timelines and shit, it all becomes quite relevant to kind of what we're going through just now.
yeah.
People are struggling to be heard. People are struggling to be nice guys. People are just struggling to hold shit together. And then they all kind of learn a lesson from each other.
Mm.
And then, yeah, so when you boil it down, it's just about mental health, people's interpretations, and people's one sort of personal shit, so to speak.
Yeah, but that's the type of reason why I love storytelling in movie forms because that I can get that in 90 minutes or 2 hours or 2.5 hours depending on the film.
Yeah.
And it's just that type of thing is just the reason why I love cinema. I
Yeah.
don't know why else. Like I don't know any other format that does it as well as cinema because I think it has shorthand in a sense that you see things visually and it speaks to you in a certain way. Um, for example, like I happen to be I just finished watching the movie for 2001: A Space Odyssey recently. Watched
Mm.
that for the first time like a couple months ago, and then that comes back into it's referenced in Everything Ever All at Once with the flashback to like 100,000 BC. But it's the sausage finger universe, which is such a weird sentence to say. But
Yeah.
it's a
The
sausage
hot dog,
finger.
the sausage finger universe got such a laugh out of me that because I went to see it at the Hippodrome in Bo'ness with my older brother, that the woman in front of me asked me if I was okay.
It's such a weird, like it's such a good like shot for shot recreation of stuff in 2001: A Space Odyssey, which
Yeah.
is I'm actually listening to the audiobook for it just now.
Mm.
That part is about the character is called Moonwatcher, and his story and the way they explain how he's thinking and how he's feeling as a proto-human is fascinating and it's fantastic. It's the best part of the book so far. Um, then to see that recreated with Stanley Kubrick vision is savage and brutal, and it's very that is the Kubrick way of doing it. And then to see it replaced with sausage finger animals is fucking hysterical. And then to come out of that and have someone send you the link to the fucking Barbie movie, and the Barbie movie is parodying that part of 2001. And you're like, what the fuck is this? How did we all just latch onto this thing at the same time? Because it's such an iconic scene, such an important, like, interesting way of looking at the world, and a weird part of our past that we're never going to really connect to. But then, like, you have a master interpret it and make such an interesting, compelling, vivid scene that's kind of primal and brutal. And then we're now like, okay, but now with sausage fingers.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
think if you bought the special edition of Everything Ever All at Once in America, it came with rubber gloves that had the hot dog fingers on them.
fuck me, I want that so bad.
You can't buy it on Blu-ray or 4K
I just
in the
want the
UK.
gloves.
Yeah.
I want to go into work with the gloves and just put them into people's mouths.
I'm pretty sure you might be able to. eBay might be a friend on that one.
I can go there to eBay tonight and buy myself sausage finger gloves and just walk into work tomorrow like, hello, you've transported to the other universe. Scare the
Say
shit out of
welcome.
some. If you could hide it and then reveal it, so, like you have like a couple of minutes of conversation where you just have your hands behind your back. How's it going? Yeah, not too bad. I wasn't too busy at the weekend. And you just pull out the sausage fingers and just point stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
can you get me something from over there?
Or you go into work, put your bag down, you hang up your coat or your hoodie or whatever you're wearing. Then as soon as you take the hoodie off, you just got them and you're talking completely normally. You don't even address it. You just can say, "Oh, so what did you do at the weekend?" Pointing at the person opposite you with your digit, like your sausage digit.
Yeah.
Then just say, "Oh, you got something on your face," and just wobble in front of them, and wipe it off.
I don't know if you saw this, but during like it's one of the flash scenes where they're jumping rapidly through the other universes. But at one point, um, Jamie Lee Curtis has her sausage finger hand in Michelle Yeoh's mouth, and it's the most like phallic fucking shit. It's like the whole sausage finger is like in her mouth. I saw it. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I feel like I was just flashbanged with something I wasn't supposed to see. But oh yeah, movies are great.
Yeah,
anything
movies
other,
are good.
anything other than movies that are great?
Uh, I mean, I want to talk about something that's not so great, and it's still film related, so I feel like I can kind of squeeze this into the end of the film discussion. Uh, Legendary Studios that made Mortal Kombat, a film that you didn't even know had been released in 2021, because of the success of that film, are making a Street Fighter film. Need I remind you, fucks, what happened the last time you made a Street Fighter film? You got The Legend of Chun Li, which was it could barely count as a Street Fighter film. It had M. Bison, who was some kind of weird drug lord. The only character that looked vaguely like any other character was Vega, played by that dude from the Black Eyed Peas. And he was the only one that looked vaguely like any kind of Street Fighter character. Then before that, you got the cocaine nightmare of the 90s film, where Jean Claude Van Damme was so high on cocaine, he doesn't even A, remember doing the movie, or B, banging Kylie Minogue on the set.
What a fucking Chad.
Like, I think, especially 90s era Kylie Minogue, right? I mean, she's still a very hot woman, but this was her peak of her powers. You'd remember that.
Unless you're Jean-Claude Van Damme. So
Unless you're
high.
Jean-Claude Van Damme on mountains of cocaine. But yeah, they're making another Street Fighter film, and I don't want it. I genuinely don't fucking want it. But it seems like I will just have to shut up and watch it roll out because they're making it in. And it's making me wonder what counts as success for a film nowadays. If a film like Mortal Kombat that was accepted by fans and passed over by non-fans, how can that count as success if only enough people didn't hate it? That now counts as a successful film.
I mean, the reaction to certain movies these days is vitriolic. So I wonder if the studio bar is now just that low. Because I know with stuff like, I mean, Velma's a bad example because it's all very kind of like, it's left vs right American politics stuff coming into it. But that was already pre-greenlit for a second season because it was going to be so successful because it's based on a previous IP. Is that maybe just like a factor, like you get like, if you need to get to like 10 points, being based on a previous IP is by default 5 points.
Yeah.
Star power plus 2 points.
Yeah, automatically think that using Velma, if you've got a legacy franchise, that's 5 points out of 10. And you've got big names like Glenn Howard and what's her name?
Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling, yeah, that's another 2 points there. You're basically up 9 points on the premise alone. Like,
yeah,
the show doesn't need to be good for more to be made. All it needs to do is enough people need to watch it and ratings need to be high enough because there was a lot of fucking people hate watching Velma.
Yeah. A part of me really wants us to move away from the rebrand, or the kind of reimaginings.
Yeah.
We're reimagining this for a modern period. I'm like, nah, do we need to? Sometimes you just
the only time I've ever heard of that work, and specifically using the phrasing, we're rebranding X for, generation, for millennials and shit like that, was when they decided to remake Voltron. And we said, we're remaking that for a new generation. All they did was they kept the story the same, but they just said, oh yeah, this character, he's now gay. And this character, is meant to be the bumbling goof. He now gets the hot alien girlfriend. And the character that you all thought was just this weird androgynous person, it's a woman. Deal with it. The story was still the same. They didn't make fun of anybody. They didn't do anything over the top and cheesy. They just remade it and changed a couple of things. And it worked. Like, follow the Voltron. I mean, I would never go back and watch it because it's 5 seasons of the slowest burn you'll ever watch. And I don't want to go through that again. But I do agree with you that I'm getting sick of the whole, we're rebranding this shit for a modern audience, because X-Men tried to do it as well with, Safe Space and Backpack and Snowflake. All these modern X-Men characters that had fitness Instagrams and one of them TikToks.
I can't remember which one it was, but my favorite was the one who was affected by his grandfather's internet gas. And I'm like, what the fuck is internet gas?
Yeah, explain to me what internet gas is before you expect me to buy anything that you're putting forward in this character. Yeah. And the Backpack had the weirdest, shittest power ever. He had basically a bag of holding on his back.
Which, I mean, not bad. But
cool power.
You need to have like a good character who I want to see use that weird power.
Yeah. It's not just be like, oh, guys, you need a charger? Hold on, let me go into my bag and get you one. So you're basically you're helpful in a crisis. Like, oh, I need 3 AAA batteries and an old shed key. Hold on, I have one.
It feels like a Robot Chicken parody of a character rather than an actual character.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be like Superman and Aquaman, Batman all standing there going, we need a key. And just like a kid with a backpack comes along and just goes, wait a minute, I got it. Just pulls it out of the back.
Hold on, gents, I have this. Like, oh Christ, who let Backpack in here?
Thanks, Backpack, you're really one of the team. I
imagine they'd say to Backpack, you keep plugging away, you'll be in the Justice League eventually.
Second Backpack's gone, fucking nerd.
just like, Jesus Christ. Only because his dad owns half of New York City do we let this guy in here. But yeah, get him.
I gotta get the joke out. Just,
sorry, go for it.
just Batman just turns to Aquaman. I prefer the Make-A-Wish kids.
At least they're quiet.
I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, basically getting back to the original point, stop remaking shit just for the sake of remaking shit. Try something new and inventive, for fuck's sake. Velma didn't need to be this, piece of shit character that you made her into. And Fred didn't need to be this white, rich moron that you made him. And,
It's funny because he can't cut up steak because white privilege. What part of white privilege is not cutting up steak? Not seasoning the steak, sure, but not cutting up the steak. No.
Yeah, bland steak is what they like.
It's what we do best.
Yeah. Although if someone gives me a bland steak, I'm going to fling it back at them.
I honestly like the whole white people don't season meat thing. I'm like, I agree to disagree on that one, sir.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm Scottish. We've been putting salt and pepper on everything for decades.
I cannot eat anything without paprika. It is a dietary requirement. I do not know where I picked it up.
Yep. I'm very genetically opposed to bland foods.
Yeah.
Must just be a Scottish thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of bland motherfuckers, can we talk about how much I hate Twitter now?
Okay, I thought we were done with that, but what have you found new to frustrate you?
Did we talk about Twitter?
We did the opening bit.
Oh yeah, fuck Twitter.
Just here.
Let's talk about something positive, man.
You know what? It's been an hour. That's your early reminder to say fuck Twitter, and 1 hour remind ourselves later on.
Yeah, this podcast is brought to you by fuck Twitter.
You have been playing Resident Evil 4, haven't you?
Yes, I have, and I've got to say, massive shock to anyone who listens to this podcast, but I fucking loved it. It was one of those games where as soon as I finished one playthrough, I went straight back for another, and I'm currently playing it through on the harder difficulties just now. And they kind of did everything I wanted them to. They cut out certain things, but it was things that I knew they were going to cut anyway, just to make sense within the game itself. Like, there's a part in the original game where you have to go through a bridge that's got swinging axes going through it. I'm like, cool gameplay segment, but in reality, no evil Spanish Castellan is going to have that.
Yeah, it's
so
too
it makes sense.
evil-ish.
Yeah, they cut that out. You fight a boss that's hanging in this weird cage container area. They got rid of that because, again, how the fuck did they get those cages there? The boss itself is probably going to reappear in one of the DLC boss fights. So I'm not too bothered about that. They make Ashley actually bearable. Before she was kind of just a bit bland, a bit kind of, I can still do it, pay attention to me type of character. And she was loud. In this, she's still quite loud, but it's more of she gets the assignment in the sense that if you're in a quiet area, she'll go, Leon, and she'll talk to you. She'll try and get your attention a bit quieter.
It's not just generic anime damsel in distress. Leon, no, help me, please, Leon.
Yeah, that shit. And in general, I just think they made her character a bit better. She still wants Leon. She still wants to jump on that ride.
Who doesn't?
But yeah, she builds up to it a bit more. There's a character in the original RE4 called Luis Serra who just shows up, says that he's a police officer from Madrid, gets you medicine to stop the infection that you have from progressing anymore, and then just dies, right? They don't do a lot with him in the original. Basically, what I've told you is exactly what happens. He shows up, he fights by your side in this kind of defense level that you do. You have to shoot all these oncoming infected. And then he disappears saying, oh, I need to go and get something. And you ask, why are you doing this? He says, oh, because it makes me feel better. They genuinely give him some character and some backstory in the remake, saying that he is a former Umbrella scientist who helped create the infection or the organism that is causing the infection in this area. And he's basically helping Leon because, he caused this. He's going to try and remedy it. And giving him a bit more character, they actually make him a lot better. He still dies at a certain point, but you actually give a shit about him dying now because, like, shit, he was actually going out of his way to help you.
Yeah, it's not just like a plot progression character where he shows up, does his thing, drops dead like 30
Yeah.
seconds later.
Because in the original, Leon would go, "Oh man, I'm going to get," when Luis is lying dead in front of you because he's been killed by the big bad. You go up and you push A over his body, and Leon says, "God damn it, these people are going to pay for what they did to you, Luis." And you're like, "Why? Why are you that bothered about him?"
It's on par with press F to pay respects. Like it's just this
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything. It's what are you doing?
Yeah, this means absolutely nothing. But at least when you do it in RE4 Remake, there's a reason behind it because Luis has saved your ass on multiple occasions, and you've actually gotten right by his side more than once.
That's good.
So yeah, there's good shit behind them. Ada Wong still just shows up to swing the hips in front of you and make you, try and follow her and do whatever the hell you want.
I have no notes.
And
That's a perfect gaming experience.
yeah, I mean, in this one they kind of realize, right? Ada, her primary thing with Leon is literally just she puts Leon so much on the back foot that it messes with Leon's head, and she just does that quite frequently in this one. Before she just kind of in the original, she shows up and just kind of distracts Leon, but in this one, she's just more of a voice in the ear. It's like more of the voice in the ear saying things like, she's infected. You can just leave her. She's gonna die anyway. Let me know what you think. And then she fucks off. Then that sends Leon into some kind of spiral, and it's like, well, I could just fuck off and leave her. But then as the game progresses, you're like, nah, Ada, fuck you. I'm gonna find her because I'm the superhero. I need to keep this shit going. But Ada, her whole thing with Leon is just, I'm gonna be that annoying voice in the back of your head that's gonna question every thought you have. Because, you're the good boy, but you're a good distraction. So you help me out, I'm gonna let you do your own thing. And in all honesty, Ada Wong probably up there in terms of just evil villain waifus. So the red dress and thigh high boots definitely helps her.
The best waifus are the evil waifus, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Dark haired, evil, red clad waifus. But yeah, she helps you out in a few bits, so I'm all for Ada Wong showing up in Resident Evil games as long as it's not Resident Evil 6. The main issue that I have with the game is actually kind of Leon. He's still the superhero, like he's still the hero of the game, and he still acts that way. But there's kind of less personality to him, and there's less one-liners and quips from him. He still has a few, but it's ones that you already know. I like the arrogance of the original RE4 Leon.
Yeah.
But it just seems like they've toned it down a bit and there's a lot less personality to him, which is a shame, but at the same time, everything else about the game is fucking phenomenal, so I don't really care. And they also expand on the game a bit more as well. In the original, you had a knife fight through quick time events with a character called Krauser, who's basically the guy that trained Leon when he was working for the American government. He taught him how to fight. In the original game, it was just a push X or mash X to stop Krauser from stabbing you in the shoulder, that kind of thing. And this one, they actually let you play out the fight, and all the way through it, Leon's like, Major Krauser, you're one of the good guys. What the fuck is happening here? It's like, oh, you're always too slow in the uptake, Leon, and I'm here because the American government sucks balls, and I'm going to make them pay or something like that. So you actually get to play out the knife fight, and it's pretty rewarding because before it was just 5 quick time events. Now it's actually a pretty long, drawn out fight. You still use your knife because, I mean, he doesn't have any other weapons. All he's got is his knife on him, so you meet him like for like. And it's genuinely a lot of fun. I'm having a hell of a lot of fun with the game. Mercenaries mode is a blast, where it's just you have this amount of ammo, this amount of time, kill as many dudes as you can before time runs out.
I was gonna see the final fight with the Major Cruiser. It's not like a machismo thing where it's like, I've got a knife and you've got a gun. Let's have a fair fight, shall we? And all of a sudden you both got knives. It's not one of those, is it?
No, it's not. It's not one of those. Leon can still use knives. Right. Still use guns if he wants, but it's just he gets up that close to you. You kind of don't really have enough time to go for your gun. You basically, the best way to do it is parry him, wait until he gets far enough away, then pull out your gun. Okay. But I think you always deal a bit more damage using the knife anyway, so it's better just to use the knife against them.
I've been playing my own zombie survival game. but I'm
Oh, cool.
I'm cheating. I'm playing Dead Island. I saw that the second one has been announced and that there's a trailer
Yeah.
out for Dead Island 2. And I was like, oh, interesting. I don't remember ever completing Dead Island 1. I remember Riptide coming out, which was technically a sequel, but they didn't call it Dead Island 2, so this one's called Dead Island 2. Um, and then I was like, okay, I'll go see how much it is. The entire like franchise so far is £20 on Steam,
Jesus.
remastered in the definitive edition. Buy. I have already started
Yeah.
it. But when I'm loading in, I notice there's One Punch version unlocked. And I'm like, the fuck is this? And it is exactly what you think it is. It's not quite God mode, but you're playing every hit as a critical hit.
Ah.
Only for you. So I'm walking
Wait, so
around.
you can dish out criticals all the time?
I dish out criticals with ragdoll effects. It is awesome. It is the dumbest shit. And it takes a very like it was a very tense survival game when it first came out, because especially on like console, because you're kind of slow to begin with, and you've got to memorize a lot of systems that are built into this whole like mechanics. And I remember playing it on Xbox and be like, this is intense. But now I'm just like, I don't give a shit, just walking through like windmilling my hands at hordes of zombies and just ragdolling them off to the sky. I'm actually
If
playing
you get caught, it's your own fault.
I'm actually playing as one of the girls. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing like these awesome like spinning kick or these awesome like kicks in high heels that just send people halfway across the map. Just so stupid, but it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
I want to get to like guns and stuff later on, but it's not. It's described as One Punch mode, which I was assuming was going straight like Saitama One Punch Man.
Yeah.
It's not. Against regular zombies, it is, but against bigger guys, it takes a couple hits. But we're talking like a 10-minute beatdown versus like 10 hits. It's a totally different fight. It's a lot of fun. It was honestly, I was playing my way through some of it. I was like, this game map and the game development is so good. I know the trailer and the marketing controversy for Riptide threw a lot of people off the game series, but it was very, very well made in terms of a game.
I had heard bad things about the Dead Island series, because I remember getting Dead Island 1 on the PS3.
Yeah.
Didn't hear nothing but bad shit about it. And then when it came to Riptide, I just avoided it altogether.
I think it suffers from being not Left 4 Dead and being it's kind of first person parkour games weren't quite as good as you remember them being in your head. Like Mirror's Edge was good. That was the Nintendo one, I think, or the PlayStation one.
But Mirror's Edge was
it was just
360,
parkour.
I think. Yeah, that was all parkour, no guns. No, wait, you could use guns.
You could steal people's guns and you could do a bit of like combat
Gun
stuff.
kata.
But it was mostly about the free running experience.
Yeah.
But then like this was just, it wasn't Left 4 Dead, it wasn't Mirror's Edge, it wasn't quite trying to be both, and it wasn't the game. It felt like the Ubisoft version of what's that game where you're stuck in the mall and you're just Dead Rising. It was trying to be like those three games all shoved into one. It didn't quite work as well as they thought it did. And everyone's got that weird kind of Ubisoft face where they try and talk to you and stare at you, and it's like, you can't just stare me to death. Like, you can't look at me like this. Treat me like a person, for fuck's sake. But it's a lot of fun so far, and obviously playing it on One Punch mode is just, I'm making a mockery of the zombie survival genre. Put it that way. I'll try and, if you're watching the YouTube version, I'll try and throw some footage up here. But it is it's well worth a look if you've got like a spare bit of time and money. It's not that bad, and I'm hoping the second one. Obviously, we're now. This is like, I want to say it's like 10, 15 years since the original Dead Island was released. It's, you know, there's
I think so. It's been a while.
Plenty of new material to work with in terms of like how games have changed, how games have evolved, and parkour has become a lot better in games. Graphics are a lot better. I mean, if you want to return to Benoit, go for it. But I mean, you could set this series basically anywhere. So yeah, I think I'll be looking at the second one when it comes out. But I was like, I should play through the first one and Riptide before I start. And it also turns out there was a like an 8-bit arcade or 16-bit arcade game thing that they made. I'm like, I'd never heard of this before, so I got that as well.
Yeah, I remember seeing that as well.
I've got some time off coming up, so I can just sit and play through. But I'm starting to enjoy, because used to, like, when you were a kid, you would just sit down and you just play video games for like 8 hours straight, and
Yeah,
people would come and be like, "Have you not moved?" You'd be like, "Shit, I haven't actually, like, I've not done anything. I've just sat here playing my video game," and
yeah.
I can now tap back into that for some games. I just have to. I felt it for like Far Cry 5 and
Mm.
Far Cry New Dawn, where I would just zone out and just be in the zone, hunting people and hunting like bears and stuff like that for hours on end, and just like enjoying it. Although to be fair, when you're hunting bears with a 50 cal, it's fucking awesome.
Mm.
There's nothing quite like winding up the shot and realizing, oh, it doesn't matter if I hit the head.
Yeah,
It's a 50 cal.
yeah. 50 cal hit anywhere. Fuck 'em
So
up.
yeah, it's fun, and I'm enjoying getting back into the gaming side of things. 'Cause it's like I have to leave either the gaming side, the movie side, or like the anime TV side. I can't have all three running at the same time.
Mm.
But I feel like I'm enjoying a shift, because I like to cycle back between like podcasts and audiobooks and music, and I do the same thing with visual media as well. I'm getting to
Yeah,
shift back into games. It's a lot of fun, because I mean, spend all the money on like a console or a gaming PC. You should, make the most of it.
yeah.
But I'll see if I can get Resident Evil remake, because I did grab number 5. I want to say, I
Mm.
think I have number
Yeah.
5 on Steam. Uh, were we not playing that at one point? Was it?
I think the plan was to try and play it
Yeah.
at
But
some point, but I can't fucking remember.
I tried playing it on PC, and I'm not playing that game on PC. I'm playing it with a controller. But no,
Yeah,
it's
don't play that game with a keyboard.
not happening.
Like one of the guys in my Pathfinder group, he is playing it on PC with mouse and keyboard, and I just said, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" He went, "Oh, it works." I'm like, "No, it doesn't. Just play it with a controller, you
I,
bastard."
I would play it as a bet. Like, I bet you can't do this. I bet I can't, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah,
um,
that's the only way I would play Resident Evil with a mouse and keyboard. And someone said, "Bet you couldn't." Fucking watch me.
I think though that you have enough experience with that franchise that you could probably pull off at least half a game.
Yeah, probably. I don't want to do it, but I probably could.
So we're back from a break and looking at the list of topics we've got to talk about. You dug out the old Berserk anime, the one from the 90s,
Yeah,
one with the killer
just
soundtrack.
yeah, the one with the really good soundtrack. Although still to this day, I probably going to be heresy saying this out loud, but I'm not a big fan of the opening and closing music.
It's a bit odd when you consider the
Yeah,
rest of Berserk tone. I think most of it fits in a kind of broad fantasy sense, but that one just feels like, I don't know why, but like when I have that opening for Berserk play, I want to have like a whiskey in my hand and just rolling some dice. I have no idea why.
yeah,
It just makes me want to gamble. What it
huh,
is.
fair enough. I just was never a big fan. I didn't think it really matched the tone of the show all that well. Then again, the 2016 2017 openings were just weird metal nonsense. Wasn't a big fan of them, but the main reason I dug out my copy of the Blu-ray is because I've been reading I finally started reading the Berserk manga. I think I say just started. I picked up the book at the beginning of the week and I burned through about 20, 30 pages. I was like, I kind of want to watch the anime again. So I dug at the anime, and I'm a sucker for fucking getting through a sentence with a yarn. I'm a sucker for the old 90s animation, and seeing that shine, given the shine and boosted up to HD makes it all the better. And Berserk is no fucking exception. It looks phenomenal in 4K. Although I am now noticing little differences in things that shouldn't be in the anime, or there should be one way in the anime, but are actually a completely different way.
Yeah.
For example, in the very first episode, because I know you do the whole skip to episode 2, then watch episode 1 at the end. I can't be bothered with that. That's that seems like effort. So I was watching episode 1, and I was like, did he just say King Griffith? And because at that point in the Black Swordsman arc, Griffith is fucking years or he's a bit away from becoming king, and then uh, his guts is walking into the village and the carriage is pulling away from him. It's like, where the fuck's Puck?
Yeah, Puck just does not appear at all in that original anime.
Yeah,
He's there pretty early in the is shown at least
yeah,
in the Golden Age arc stuff, and then he's present in the games and present in the series of which we do not speak.
yeah,
He's he's just not there because it's too much to explain the fairy side of things. If you're not
yeah,
going to get into the Black Swordsman arc and the Lost Children arc and stuff like that, it's just
yeah.
kind of not worth it unless you're doing that.
Yeah, unless you're building up to all that shit, you really don't need them now.
Although the idea that it's maybe not King Griffith, maybe it is. I think he could be, because by that point, if you've got demon lords as like lord level characters in the setting, that means that Griffith has combined demonic and human armies, and he's
Yeah,
basically if not in name, he's the king. He's the one in charge from that point of view. Basically immediately after that battle, because that's after Ganeshka's dead. He's like in charge.
yeah,
He might not be a king in name, but he's running it.
yeah. Although from what I've heard, it is quite literally just it's an error from translation or something like that. Griffith is known at this point, but this is well before Ganeshka even comes on the scene. So I think it is just a case of the dub not being up to scratch.
90s dubs.
Yeah, who gives a shit? It's still fucking phenomenal. I still absolutely love that anime, and it's kind of made me want to read through more of the books. Fucking hell.
This episode's getting cut short, kids.
Yeah, don't know what it is. Like, if anybody's listening to me yawning constantly, I get enough sleep. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. Maybe I just need more water or sunlight based water or something. I don't fucking know. But yeah,
More
having a hell of a
electrolytes.
lot of fun. Yeah, more electrolytes, more energy drinks, caffeine. But if you can find the Blu-ray version of Berserk, pretty sure it's only on Amazon for about 20 quid. Just grab it.
I have the DVDs, but I think an upgrade is now well overdue.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got the Blu-rays for the Golden Age arc, and I bought those sight unseen. So
Yeah, I bought the first one, and that was a special edition. And then for half the price that I paid for the special edition, I found all three because the special edition was
I was gonna,
£16.
I was gonna say I bought all three of them in one big disc that is still in one case, and it
Yeah,
was pretty cheap. I'm like, this is way too cheap.
yeah. I got mine through CX. I bought the first one, and it was £12. And I was like, all right, this is cool. It's got a little art book and stuff like that. And then I seen all three of them in another CEX the following week. I'm like, this is only £6. I'm buying this.
Yeah.
So I don't care that I have two copies of the first Berserk movie. I got them stupidly cheap.
Hmm.
I also have two copies of Daredevil Volume 1. I have two copies of, fuck's his name? Snyder's Batman. Not Zack Snyder. I don't know why I instantly went to Zack Snyder. But there was a Snyder that wrote a Batman series, the Court of Owls series. I have two copies of Batman Court of Owls. So yeah, I'm the kind of person that will buy more than one thing accidentally.
I did the same thing when collecting Dragon Ball Z DVDs. I have 2 volumes of the Frieza saga, the orange boxes. I'm like, I don't know why I bought a second copy of this. It's I'm glad you went back to it because it's a fun nostalgic watch. It definitely has
Yeah,
moments that's where it's of that time, but the same like it's one of those examples of it's the best of that time of anime.
yeah,
It's just something about I do kind of enjoy 4x3 video a bit more now. I don't know. It's some YouTubers are starting to incorporate it into videos,
mm.
where the video is made in a 4x3 format, and YouTube will give it the 4x3 like box shape
All
rather
right.
than like try to compensate and give it like a 16x3 with bars on the side.
Yeah, rather with a widescreen.
And it's like, oh, it's nice that you got that. I mean,
Yeah,
you can go full screen and get those bars, but like if you go to just like have the video in a normal player, it fits perfectly on a YouTube setup.
yeah,
The
go for
four by
that
three.
native resolution.
It's kind of old school, but I really like the colors and shadows in Berserk when
Mm.
you do that old school animation. So I'm definitely going to pick up the Blu-ray then. See how much I can get it for.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. Just because I've been reading the books, I was like, you know what, I can go back and watch the anime. So when I finish watching the anime, which will probably happen way before I finish reading the manga, it'll probably make me go more into the manga and read that because after multiple attempts of trying to read the Itchy Tasty book about Resident Evil, I've basically come to the conclusion that I don't really need to finish it because all the stuff that's in this book I kind of already know. It's a book about Resident Evil, and I've been playing Resident Evil since I was about 6. So all this shit I already know, and rereading stuff like that for fun just isn't fun, quite frankly. So I've moved on to other books, and every chance I might be bankrupting myself buying more Berserk Deluxe novels, but yeah,
Honestly,
I'm
worth it.
more into Berserk now. My collection has slightly grown of Berserk manga since last time we spoke. I have volumes 1, 2, and 13.
Nice, nice.
Purely because volume 13 was going for stupidly cheap on Forbidden Planet. It was only about 20 quid, and I was like, having that.
I really like Forbidden Planet. Now that you've kind of like pointed me in the right direction for that place, I love the idea that there's a room of manga that is just waiting for me to read it. Fucking love it.
Yeah.
It is. It's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be pleasant. You're going to get some weird looks walking around that place, but at the same time, kind of dig it.
Yeah.
You just have to avoid the section of like the dolls and the statues because it's like I like a lot of the series you have here, and I like a lot of the characters you have here. I don't know if I like them enough to have like a tiny statue version of them sitting on my desk at all times. Like that's just like another level that I'm not. I'm very close to being there, but I'm not quite there yet.
Fucking Vodafone internet, man, just cut out right after you said dolls and statues.
Basically, I don't think I'm ready to be that level of weeb where I have the statue collection. It gets expensive fast, and
Oh, yeah.
it's just a statue. Like that's part of, I wouldn't know if it's the problem, but like I want a doll or actually there's Nendoroids which would be like posable, but beyond
Yeah.
that, kind of like I just don't think I want to have that in my house.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to tell me. I am. It's been very well discussed on this show. It's very well worn territory that I will collect comic books, Blu-rays and DVDs, and video games. I will buy the occasional Gundam kit, but I draw the line at toys and statues purely because I'm going to die one day.
Someone's
I
gonna have to
want to,
walk in here, and I will not be around to explain why you can see up her skirt.
yeah, I'm not going to be around to explain why I have, all the horror icons in the or by Kotobukiya when they did the sexy anime girl versions of horror icons. I don't want to tell any. I don't want to have to write a note saying this is their version of Michael Myers. She is very busty and she has that mask on the side of her head.
I swear to God, I did not jerk off on this.
Yeah, that is blood. Don't ask why it's white. It is meant to be blood.
It was censored for Japanese law.
Yeah.
For some reason, that was okay, but blood wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to die one day. I don't want someone to come in and say, "Oh, look, he had that, he had this." Also, the more money that I spend on buying cool shit to decorate my house, the less money I have less money I have to buy cool shit that I can then read, watch, and play. So, like you said, making a conscious decision about, I can either watch anime, read manga, play video games, or watch a film. You can't really have a toe, and you can't really dip in each one in and out. You have to kind of be hardcore one or the other. I made a conscious decision not to buy cool figurines because I know for a fact, well, as you get older, you kind of buy shit that you couldn't get when you were younger. And as a young man who was into comics, I wanted the toys. I know for a fact I'll go full tilt fucking bozo and buy all the cool toys as an older man with a bit of disposable cash. So I've had to stop myself. Say, right, I'm only going to buy books and DVDs because they can be resold a bit easier than niche statues. And also they're fucking expensive anyway. If you have a look at the cool sideshow collectible stuff, it's about $900 a statue.
I'm not gonna
You know
lie.
how many volumes of books that is?
I'm looking at the sexy horror icons and smash every single one of them. Just Jesus Christ. why why is Chucky hot? who
To
asked for
further mess with your dreams and drive up the cost of your therapy.
Ash? I assume we still call it Ash because it
Ash
came short
Williams,
for
yeah.
Ashley. Ashley Williams. Oh my god. Sir, that is inappropriate. I should not feel that way about Bruce Campbell. No man should feel that way about Bruce fucking Campbell. Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah. For me, it's the Jason Voorhees one. That one in my head is associated. I seen a cosplayer dress up as that character, and it's just in my head. It's like I am having weird thoughts about Jason Voorhees.
I I need to close that window.
Yeah.
It's too, the Michael Myers one is kind of funny and kind of cute at the same time. All of it is messed up, and I kind of fucking love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Berserk vaguely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear, like, returning that series is good, and
Yeah.
I know they've cut a lot from the manga, and they cut more from the later half of it.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with all of it, to be honest. What they cut, I understand why they cut it. You'll kind of grow to appreciate what they actually managed to pull off, though.
Mhm.
Like, what they actually managed to get working is fantastic. And by the way, in the time we took out a little break so Dom could fix something, in the time we took the break, I've ordered the Berserk Blu-rays.
Nice.
Also ordered,
That's fucking dedication, people.
also ordered the Helsing Blu-rays as well, because I have the DVDs. I want to see that up to full HD, because that is a gorgeous show. That Studio Madhouse on crack, just dunking on everyone. A fantastic series, and obviously the Team 4-star version for like Hellsinger Abridged is just so iconic in terms of like internet culture. Just chef's kiss the entire way through. But I still really enjoy the original. I want to go back to that series because the ending of that show is just a complete mindfuck. Because it involves people starting to, like, both existing and non-existing, and like Schrodinger's cat with Dracula, and you're like, what the fuck are we doing here? I have no idea. But it's a fascinating end to a show that, like, really one of the first times that anime kind of like caught me really off guard. Because I'm kind of used to it now, where like we start off as like a high school kid, and then by the end of it, we're fighting God for control of a waifu, and I'm like, yeah, I'm so used to this, it's kind of blasé now. But it's now that was still one of those first kind of like, oh my god, what are we doing? What the hell is this show up to? But it was a fun show. I remember it fondly, and I would love to see I would love to see and hear Hellsing just kicking off that massive fucking cannon.
Yeah.
But in HD.
Yeah.
And any day now, I will complete my Hellsing Ultimate Collection with the Ultimate Hellsing part of the unofficial canon, at least for me anyway, the Vampire Hunter D. And Bloodlust as well. I need that on a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I have Vampire Hunter D on Blu-ray.
Oh.
And I got that through all the anime. And it was literally one of my friends from D&D said, you like Vampire Hunter D, don't you? I was, yes. Fucking one of the greatest anime films of all time. Oh, it's getting a Blu-ray re-release. Link, please, now. And I bought it there and then.
There and then, sight unseen, I want it done.
Yeah, because that film looked good on DVD. Honestly, fucking stellar looking on Blu-ray. Now, this silence that you're experiencing, listeners, that's Colin Googling all the anime so he can find Vampire Hunter D on Blu-ray.
As if I don't have it bookmarked.
I was a bad friend showing you all the anime.
I really appreciate you pointing me in that direction, but at the same time, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm a bad person.
You know, if you hadn't shown me that, we could be going out to dinner, having drinks and stuff like that at any point just to hang out. Nah, there's no money for that anymore. You go straight to all the anime. It was I think the last thing I bought was
People ask me, why don't you hang around with Colin anymore? It's like, well, he doesn't have any money.
he's poor. I'm hanging with broke bitches. The last thing I bought was a special edition of a 45-minute video called Summer Ghost, which was fan fucking tastic. And I realized that with that order, I pre-ordered another special edition for a thing I've never seen before because it was there, and I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, why not?
I just impulse buy this weird like niche anime. I'm like, yeah, I'll have that, please, and that, please. Although it did let me get my hands on Memories, which is a compilation of short stories which features the first animated directorial debut of Satoshi Kon. So that
All right.
gets added to the list of Satoshi Kon stuff I need to watch again and again. If I get the point.
Yeah.
Because I did read his manga for Opus. I don't remember if we talked about this on the show before, but that was a very interesting read. And in the context of it being an unfinished work, and the version I have, including the unfinished chapters, which discuss unfinished work, it's really meta in a very good way. Like it dissolves almost like it goes from like top tier art to just dissolving into like sketches and like stick figures and like rough blocking and package like stuff like that. And you're like, oh, that's got a bit real there at the end. With even the book questioning what's reality anymore, and you're like, oh boy, this is. Let me just sit down and figure this out.
Sit down and have a think.
What was real though? Was I was at concerts recently, and I've been getting back into concerts this year because the lockdown really did isolate me to the point where like it was just me sitting by myself in this flat, going to work and then coming back to work, coming back. When we're going back to the gym, it was like a whole thing. It was a whole new experience again going back to the gym after months off during lockdown. But going back to gigs for the first time this year has been fun. I mean, there's been some downsides. For example, I was severely ill after going to see Bad Wolves, but at the same time, it was worth it because I got to go see Bad Wolves. So
Yeah.
you know, bit of a trade-off, but worth it. I think get to talk about Beast in Black the last time we recorded. I don't know if we just I can't remember the recording times, the gig time, but I got to see Beast in Black just to tie it to the Berserk thing. Fantastic. I was worried that like with the vocal range that's required for those songs, some of it would get lost. It doesn't matter because the Scottish crowd will just sing the rest for you. It was really good, and they said they would be back soon, and I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Like, how soon are we talking about? Like, because obviously they're touring with their Cyberpunk album, which is very good. But I just like I was wondering they're actually playing for 2 nights in Tokyo, and the tour is called 2 Nights in Tokyo. I'm like, brilliant,
Genius.
top beam. But they apparently said they're going to come back. So the second that there's tickets available for that, I'm like grabbing people and be like, hey, we're going on a trip. Yeah, it's very good. And then like a week or two ago, I went to see Bloodywood. Bloodywood are touring Europe and stuff at the moment. I think they're back in India for a couple of weeks, and then they're going off to America in a couple of months. And if you're in America and you get the chance to see Bloodywood, go and see them. That is one of the most intense live shows I've seen in ages. It was just like normally you'll find that it's very kind of one-sided as to who's got more energy, the crowd or the band. It was absolutely neck and neck the entire time, and then both sides are just pushing each other further and further and further. Yeah, it was really good. I was again worried that like Rahul's voice, like rapping, for me at least, rapping is about the message and the words and the delivery and the like kind of almost like the enunciation. So if you miss words, you'd miss the point. And then like backing a rapper with a metal band, especially a heavy metal band like Bloodywood, where like I don't know if you ever just listened to what the drummer is doing in those tracks. He's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
And when he's just fucking around on the drums to like fill in a bit of space between like songs is a bit like every now and again you get the kind of like just the drums, just like the double bass kind of rattle away as fast as you can. This guy was just doing it at like several hundred beats per second. I'm like, holy shit. I didn't know drums could be played that fast, but way to go. But I was worried that like you combine like rap with a message with metal, but it doesn't quite come out right on speakers. Nah, I think they highlighted the fact that they have their own sound guy that comes with them to make it sound right, and that guy earns his fucking pay every night. It is unreal how good they sound live. I mean, like, if you've been in Scottish Eggs, you've heard the here we fucking go chant.
Yeah.
That normally gets done about once a night. Bloody would got it 5 songs in a row. It was just like, right, come on, let's see what you've got.
That's how you can tell you're at a good gig. If you hear "Here We Fucking Go" 5 times over the night.
Yeah. I mean, I had to tell the mentions, but with Beast in Black, they were touring with Firewind, which is it's Gus G's band. Gus G being like a former Sabbath, technically, former Ozzy Osbourne guitarist, but Bloody would tour with a band called North Atlas, who I'd never heard before, but like I'll give them a go at some point. Always looking for new music, but when they're touring in the United States, they're taking Vended, and that's Corey Taylor's kid.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You wouldn't think that voice was genetic, but yeah, it is. It's an interesting band. They're quite good. You know, it's the kids. You know, it's kids coming up making their own music, which is always interesting. And then you realize, oh wait, they're younger than I am. Fuck them.
Yeah. Fuck them and their burgeoning success.
Yeah. Successful bastards.
Yeah. Pricks making money. Yeah. Talking about comic books, as we always do, as we are wont to do on this show. I'm always on the lookout for new shit, and as you know well by now, I'm a huge fan of a guy called Chip Zdarsky. Who
I thought you were going to say I'm a huge fan of a guy called Batman.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of a gentleman called Batman. So this guy Chip Zdarsky, he's been writing Daredevil fucking brilliantly. His run on Daredevil comes to an end in August, so we'll probably get Daredevil Volume 9, which I think is the last one if it's coming around about August time, around about that time. And that kind of brings to close his run on Daredevil and Elektra. But he has also started doing a run of Batman for DC. So naturally, I needed to check this out. I was watching I can't remember what YouTube channel it was. It was it wasn't Comics Explained. I'll try and find. They are my elevator pitch for this week. So I'll find the YouTube link and I'll chuck it up there. But they were doing a breakdown of a book called Batman Failsafe, which is obviously by Chip Zdarsky. I do not know who the artist is, even though the book is sitting fucking millimeters away from me. But I'm pretty sure Chip Zdarsky is now just writing books specifically for me, right? Because he's written a fucking stellar Daredevil run, and now he's writing a very, very fucking good Batman run. And the whole concept behind Batman Failsafe is it kind of ties back into another Justice League of America book called Tower of Babel.
Right.
Which is about, it's been turned into an animated film called Justice League Doom, wherein Batman, his computer gets hacked, and a group called the Legion of Doom, because, you know, they needed a name for an evil version of the Justice League, so Legion of Doom. They hack Batman's computer and find these contingency plans for each member of the Justice League.
Oh yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah, and it ends with Batman basically kicking himself out of the Justice League of America, and Superman asks him, like, "You're so arrogant to assume that if any single one of us go over went rogue, yeah, we would need some kind of containment or contingency plan put in place. But you're so arrogant that you didn't put one in place for yourself. You know, where's the failsafe for Batman?" And Batman says, "You know, I had one. It's the Justice League." Then he teleports away from the Watchtower. Turns out in later issues, Batman actually did build himself a failsafe.
I was going to say, I think I've seen bits where like he has a contingency plan for himself, and it's like use psychological torture on him.
No, if only it was so so. Route 1 is psychological torture. It is literally he builds an indestructible robot called Failsafe, because you don't need a better name than that.
Yeah.
This robot it's been built using a thing called nth metal, which is, you know, DC's version of adamantium vibranium. It's unbreakable mythical metal. Um, it has the combat data from Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman all put into it. It has kryptonite knives. It can tap into any surveillance system. It's basically all the skills of the Justice League distilled into one robot that's indestructible, has no compassion. It works purely on logic, and it activates when it looks like Batman has killed the Penguin. Uh, Basically, he chases the Penguin down to a hospital or something like that. Finds out, and through talking to him, Penguin says something like, "Yeah, you're not getting away from this one, Batman." And he takes a suicide pill, and that's what kicks failsafe off. And it basically is a battle through all of Gotham. The entire Bat family get involved, and even enlist Superman because it's a super strong creation. Maybe Superman can help fight it. No, that's when you find out that he's got fucking kryptonite wrist blades, and it's all basically this quite arrogant story of Batman. It was like, well, if the Justice League can't kill me, I'm going to make something that the Justice League can't kill to kill me. In a kind of weird bragging type of way, like, oh, the Justice League can't kill this robot, but this robot can fight me. And if they try and interfere and save me, that'll be able to take them out as well.
So this entire thing could have been like stopped by him having like one of those what you call it, the it's that thing where the people have their like exploding claws around their neck. If Batman just had one of those from
Yeah,
Battle Royale.
yeah, pretty much. If it just had something that regulated all of his movement, but it sounds kind of weird, but the way it's written is genuinely so cool to my mind, and the fact that it brings in all the other members of the Bat family is pretty cool. And of course, Chip Zdarsky, I'm pretty sure he could write the phone book, and it would seem interesting to me at this point. The guy's just prolific when it comes to comic book writing, so I am eagerly awaiting more in the Batman's failsafe comic book line, and it will be very expensive to probably keep up with Berserk, Daredevil, and Batman at this point. But fuck it, that's what money's for.
Can't take it with you.
I can't take it with you. Might have none left to take with me anyway, but fuck it. Yeah, comic books. Keep reading them, kids.
Some of them are good. Others, ew.
Yeah. Anyone who decides to buy Marvel Civil War 2, just stop. Fucking stop. That book sucks.
I remember like the first one coming. It's different from the Civil War storyline that we have with the MCU. But like the
Yeah.
second one, even the fans were like, no, it doesn't make sense. Like all this was resolved in the first Civil War. This is just dragging up old shit to just have more drama.
Yeah. The first Civil War book is genuinely fucking amazing, right? Because it's superheroes versus superheroes, and it's Captain America versus Iron Man. It's the people who want to remain anonymous under the Superhero Registration Act, and the superheroes that think they have too much unchecked power and they need to be registered. It is a really, really good story, and it's told through the eyes of Spider-Man. He's the kind of the way in for the audience. It's him saying, we need to have accountability. We need to be able to do what we do, but with some kind of repercussions if we go rogue. But then he kind of goes, you know what? People know who I am, and people are getting hurt. We superheroes need to be anonymous. It's a genuinely good book. Civil War 2 is literally Iron Man saying, you know what? Earth needs its own defenses. I think we need to recruit more superheroes. Carol Danvers then goes, no, no, no. We're going to put a big energy bubble over the Earth and we're going to stop people from entering and exiting Earth. What the fuck? And then Rhodey tries to get involved and broker a peace between Iron Man and Captain Marvel and then dies. And then that sets Iron Man off. And Carol Danvers ends up not killing Tony Stark, but putting him in, like beating him down so badly that he has to get put into some kind of healing chamber coma thing. At which point, Tony Stark just comes back as an AI. So whereas you had the entire Marvel universe in the first Civil War coming together to try and, prove one point over the other in order to, either pass or deny this bill, you've then got in Civil War 2 a lot of a petty argument between Carol Danvers and Tony Stark that Rhodey gets in the middle of and accidentally gets his ass kicked. It's fucking garbage.
And I wonder if I'm not entirely sure the publication timeline, but I wonder if Rhodey getting involved and getting his ass kicked is a reflection of what happens in the Civil War, like, movie. Because it's
I
Rhodey,
think it
War
is.
Machine, that does get his ass kicked. Like that, and that knocks it up a level. It's like, okay, it goes from like we're having a scrap and a disagreement to you just crippled my friend.
Yeah.
Like it's on. we're not fucking around here.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just when I seen that in the film, I was like, that looks like the bit from Civil War 2. It's like, oh, please don't tell me we're going that route.
Oh,
But
so it
still,
was
I
the
said,
books first, and then the movie did it.
I think the film might have did it first, then the movie chimed. No, other way around. Civil War 2 came out, then Civil War the film.
Right, yeah, books then movie. Yeah, they
Yeah.
maybe just stole that part. Oh, maybe it was just it happens that he gets like struck down in both of them.
Yeah, maybe. Either way, it's not good. Civil War 2 sucks, and if they make that into a film, I guarantee they will use it as a way to try and get rid of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, which would suck, because I quite like Brie Larson. A lot of people think she's quite arrogant in it. It's true, she can be a bit, but I like the roles that she plays. So, then again, if they try and change too much of the MCU right now, it's going to go down in flames, because I've heard bad things about Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp 2.
Aye, Quantumania.
Yeah, Quantumania, that's the one. I have not heard good things. And to be honest, it's not the bad reviews that have stopped me going to see that film. It's the fact that fucking MODOK is in that, and I fucking hate MODOK and his giant head and weed dangly legs. Fucking hate him.
I don't know who it is, so you're gonna have to elaborate a little.
MODOK is, I'm pretty sure he's a, award-winning geneticist, some bullshit like that, who in the original books tries to recreate the super soldier serum, because that was the big MacGuffin back in the day. The Hulk became the Hulk because he tried to recreate super soldier serum. Wolverine became Wolverine because they tried to recreate super soldier serum, but ended up finding a way to infuse adamantium into people's bones, so on and so forth. And in the original run that mutated him, it made him highly intelligent, but his body couldn't function without this big weird suit thing. And he's just such a non-fucking threatening villain. I have no interest in anything that he appears in. You can put him in video games and try and make him appear threatening. You can give him a deeper voice and try and make him sound all grovelly and evil, but he's just such a shite villain. I don't want him anywhere near any Marvel film that I see.
Oh well.
Fuck him.
Right, I guess your elevator pitch then is the breakdown, or is that the breakdown channel?
My elevator pitch for this week is I found through YouTube, and after having many text conversations with Colin, I want to know more about Berserk, but in a kind of a non-spoilery type of way. And this link that I've just dropped in here, Marvelous Videos, they do a really good job of that. They put in a lot of work in the videos. They cover many topics, and one of the main videos that they do is talking about Berserk, talking about the background of, why Guts' arm is the way it is, who King Geyserik is. Basically, hundreds of videos talking about the different aspects of Berserk, and I think it's a very condensed but good way of giving people a bit more background information on a very heavy subject that is Berserk. So I'd highly recommend Marvelous Videos. They not only talk about Berserk, they talk about Marvel, DC, other comics. There's a bit of everything in there, so you'll find it. If you find the YouTube channel, you'll be able to find something that you like.
So I mentioned I'm going back to going back to comics, going back to concerts, and
I think since you're going back to college, I'm like, oh, dude, what are you studying?
I'm studying diction, English diction.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to pronunciate some stuff. How to pick your words carefully and not be a fucking stuttering moron. Right up my alley. I'd probably fail, but it's worth a shot. I'm going back to concerts more often, and my next concert is Baby Metal, Lordy, and Sabaton. And I don't know how you get those three talking together, but that is going to be a gig and a half.
Yeah, you don't know how those three start talking to each other, but it's a conversation you want to hear.
My theory is that Lordi and Sabaton, both Swedish bands, that's an immediate connection. They're like, hey, let's take you out on the road, have a laugh, just go have a party all across Europe, let's go. And
Yeah.
then I can see, for some reason, Sabaton liking baby metal. I think there was a picture of Johan being there with the girls at like Download or something like that. And
Yeah.
he was a big booster for them back when they first started. And it
Yeah.
was a combination of people just yelling, fucking weeb trash, don't want this shit in here, get this idol shit out of here, it's not funny, it's not... And everyone's like, we're not joking about this is fucking legit. So I know that it was them and Rob, I imagine it was them and Rob Halford were both kind of like, no, take them seriously, enjoy the
Yeah.
music.
It was
And
definitely Rob Halford that kind of made me think, okay, these guys aren't just meant to be niche,
yeah,
a niche little, a niche band that come out. No, you listen to them, there's technical ability there, and
yeah.
as they get older and their voices develop a bit more, you realise that they can fucking sing.
Although I think there's a third member has been added to the band again, because we lost the youngest one, her name was Sue Metal, and she disappeared. And now there's a third member in a video that I saw somewhere, and I'm like, oh wait, that like they're older now. Have they
Yeah,
added a third idol back in the group? So I'll be interested to see what happens there.
yeah,
But that's the next week, as the 19th. I'll be at the SSE listening to Baby Metal and Sabaton, and just kind of sitting through Lordi, I guess.
yeah,
Like, other than Hard Rock Hallelujah, name another Lordi song.
yeah. That's the real challenge.
Yeah. So my pick for this week is just my favorite baby metal song, and it's "Road to Resistance," and it is of course the version with the guys from Dragon Force, because that is probably the hardest shred I've ever heard in my entire
Yeah,
life. Just it is an all-out assault on the ears, and it is awesome, and I love it. So I'm building my I started doing this more where I build playlists, and I actually post them up on Twitter whenever I go to a gig. I'll have the playlist of this is what I'm listening to, like in preparation for this concert. It just helps the concert flow a bit
yeah,
better to know what's coming next, and makes it a bit more relaxed and enjoyable. So I'll be building my baby metal list in the coming days once I find out what they're actually playing on the current tour list. Because that's the good thing about Scotland is that we get the tours at the end of or in the middle of tours. So there's normally a couple of English
yeah,
gigs. Nobody starts in Glasgow; they always start in
yeah,
London. So it's good to get like the kind of tour list before they come up. So I'll grab the tour list for Baby
yeah,
Metal and Sabaton, because as much as I enjoy like a few of their songs, I don't listen to that much Sabaton. And normally when it comes on a playlist, I don't
yeah.
skip it.
I think I'm in that boat with
That's my lot.
Sabaton. It's like, oh yeah, here comes Shirayama. I'll listen to that, but it's not a band that I seek out. If they show up, let it play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that you're talking about making playlists. It's something that I've started doing as well, but after concerts. And I always go on Spotify and I'll start, compiling it myself using a set list or something that I found online. But there's always people that
Mhm.
make a set list and say, "Oh, here's the songs from their gig in 2023 at O2 Academy." But I added some things that I wanted them to play. Like, well, that's not really. Now it's just a playlist of your
Yeah.
personal favorites, not the set list from that fucking gig, you idiot.
Yeah, it's a very dumb way to do it, because like that's the entire point is you're either preparing for the gig or taking the memory of the gig
Yeah.
with you through the music,
So
rather than just like I just like
yeah,
the
I don't
songs.
want to hear, the Clutch set list from in November last year, but with a couple of extra songs that you wanted them to play. I want to hear the set list from last year. At, at, at a push, if you're going to put
Yeah,
extra songs on them, make it the support bands.
yeah. I fucked up my Beast in Black playlist because I only saw the first 9 songs that were on the list. I was like, only 9 songs, bit of a shit. Like show, I wish they played more. Their playlist went on. There's like 17
Yeah,
songs now, and every single choice is like, that is a great song to pick. Nothing but hits. I would say I've been very lucky this year. Arch Enemy, Behemoth, Bad Wolves, Beast in Black, Bollywood, like banger
yeah,
shows all the way through. I'm hoping the trend continues because after Baby Metal, is possibly Amon Amarth, and the new Amon Amarth album is fan fucking
yeah.
tastic. So
After talking to you, I think it was a couple of days ago, I listened to it and I'm like, yeah, I get this. I fucking get this. Inject it into my
yes,
goddamn veins. I need more Amon Amarth. I was pissing off my neighbours playing that shit loud.
but Find a Way or Make One is just I'm ready to
Yeah,
go.
Axes just
Who
appear in
wants
your
these
hand.
hands? The best part is as well, and it's like an interesting thing about because I have friends that are former Viking metal fans, and I just couldn't really listen to it anymore because it felt a bit off and cheesy. I don't quite like it as much as I used to when I grew up, and I'm like, well, I've still got that in me. So, but they were saying like it's just hard to square the Viking mentality with modern
Yeah.
life, and that Find a Way or Make One is about that. The video for it is about that kind of, if you love modern Viking metal but you're working in an office job, what do you do? Like what? But that's the thing, is it means more to you because you don't experience an extreme life. You get to kind of live vicariously through other people and other people's like music and experiences, songs and stories. And it's an interesting take on it. That's why I love Viking metal. So it's a great album, and it really does bring together a lot of stuff. But anyway, I feel we've been distracted from the elevator pitch. Well, if you'd like to complain about how distracted we were, you can reach out to us on Twitter for now.
I mean, at this point,
at
aren't you surprised
Jibberfish.
that we get distracted by shit? That's 90% of the show.
It's shiny.
It's just like, oh, piece of candy. Oh, piece of candy.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. You can also reach out to us on emails, jibberfishpodcast@gmail.com. And if there's any suggestions, we're still taking suggestions for alternative social media platforms. Right now, I had started to like poke and prod at Substack, but I'm not sure how we fit in there because we're typically taking the piss half the time, and Substack seems a bit more serious. I don't know how they'd feel about random weebs showing up and shit posting all over the place. So we're open to suggestions, but it's, as Dom said, it's not Twitter, baby, because that is now your last early reminder to say fuck Twitter. Until you say fuck Twitter again, I've been Colin.
Dom Anderson.